Credit cards, what's the point? So you're thinking about getting a credit card, but what exactly are the advantages and disadvantages to them in the UK? The first thing you should think about when you're considering getting a credit card are your credit reports and scores. There are 3 in the UK and you should look at every single one. If you click here to watch my other video, I break down these 3 reports and how you can access them completely for free for life. If you can use a credit card responsibly, it will have a massive positive impact on your credit score, but it will have a dire impact if you don't. There are a few golden rules that you should live by using any credit card on the market in the UK. The first is to always pay your statement balance off in full every single month. This is essentially all of your spending on the card for the previous month. It's done by date, normally every 30 days or so, and you'll be able to see it quite easily in whichever app that you're using to manage whichever credit card you use. Making the full balance payment each month avoids you paying any interest on the balance. Some of the credit cards that actually come highly recommended for their rewards charge anywhere from 20 to 35% APR, and so you want to avoid spending that interest at all costs. It's also vitally important to your credit report that you make the full payments each month. Now, the second rule is based on credit utilization. This is essentially the amount of your credit limit that you're using at any one time. So say, for example, you have a £2,000 credit limit on one of your credit cards. The rule is never to spend more than 50% of that limit. So in other words, your balance at any one time should never go above £1,000 on a card with a £2,000 limit. Ideally, you want to keep it within 25% credit utilization, i.e. £500 on a £2,000 limit. And if you do make any transactions that go over these amounts, you can make early payments quite easily in most of the apps on the UK marketplace today. Different banks will have different rules on when you can apply for credit limit increases, but in my opinion, you should maximise the credit limits that they're willing to extend to you. You can opt in at any time, including when you initially take out each card, to have automatic credit limit increases, which I'd highly recommend. But in the meantime, you can make manual requests. Specific to Amex, there's a recommendation that you apply for 3 times your current credit limit around every 6 months or so. When you first take out your Amex, you might start off with a low limit around £1,500. 2 months after you start using your Amex, you can apply for 3 times that. And 6 months after that, you can apply for another 3 times. And this just means that you'll always be using much less of your credit limit. All in all, if you can responsibly use credit cards and follow these pretty simple rules, then it will have a massive positive impact on your credit report, which means that you're likely to be able to access much better rates for future finance, things like mortgages, perhaps car loans, etc. Another big advantage of using credit cards for all of your spending are the rewards that you can earn as a result. Now, different banks will have different incentives for you to spend on their cards, but typically these range from cashback to things like gift cards and airline miles, and they can be highly valuable if used in the right way. The third benefit to using credit cards for certain purchases is the purchase protection that you legally get under Section 75. What this means is for purchases between £100 and £30,000, the lender, in this case the credit card provider, has equal liability to the merchant who is selling the good or service. And so, for example, if a shop or an airline goes bankrupt but you've already spent with them and not yet received your good or service, the credit card provider has an equal responsibility to either provide that good or service or give you your money back. This can be especially useful for things like flights, accommodation, and other areas where you might want to dispute transactions. You don't even need to make the full purchase on your credit card. For example, if you're buying a car from an independent car dealership, you could place a £50 deposit on your credit card. As long as the car is purchased overall for between £100 and £30,000, just that £50 spend on your credit card makes the credit card provider equally liable for that purchase. And so if that independent car dealership goes bust, the credit card provider will refund you the entire cost of the car that you've so far outlaid. Credit cards are also a very useful tool for authorizations. You may not have seen these before, but they're most common in places like hotels, serviced accommodation providers, car rental agreements, and essentially they place an authorization on your card for a certain amount which acts like a deposit. Say you're renting a car. You've already paid the £300 upfront cost, for example, for renting it for 2 days. However, the credit card company wants to take a deposit from you for a further £500 in case there's any damage to the car or you don't return it with the amount of fuel that you agreed, something like that. They'll take the £500 authorization from your card, which comes off your available credit limit, but it doesn't actually charge your card yet until they take a claim from that deposit. So rather than doing it from your debit card, which some providers don't even allow anyway, instead they're taking an authorization from something which isn't yet your money. If they take it direct from your debit card, then they're preventing you accessing your own cash. However, if they take it from a credit card, it's simply an authorization for something to be worked out at a later date. Many credit cards also provide great benefits like insurance. Some of the American Express cards provide a really comprehensive insurance package for things like worldwide travel. Other banks provide insurance for content and gadgets and that sort of thing. So you can very quickly benefit from things that would normally cost you tens or hundreds of pounds a month otherwise, that are just included with your card. Typically, credit cards are the best way to spend abroad as well. There are certain credit cards available on the UK market that have no foreign transaction fees. So if you jet off to Ibiza, you can withdraw cash or make purchases on your card with 0% fee. Be sure to watch my other video which compares the best credit cards for using abroad. Finally, something called credit card churning, and this is where you can take advantage from massive welcome bonuses that are potentially worth hundreds or even thousands of pounds. Let me explain. In my opinion, the American Express Preferred Rewards Gold credit card is one of the best credit cards that you can start out with on the UK market. If you're a beginner to earning rewards from your everyday spending, then this is a really good place to start out. And in particular, there's no better time than to sign up right now. Normally you get a 10,000 membership rewards points welcome bonus when you spend £3,000 in your first 3 months of card membership. However, at the moment, Amex have an offer where they're doubling that to 20,000 MR points. As long as you apply for the card and start spending before the 29th of June 2020, you're eligible to earn 20,000 bonus points when you've spent £3,000 in the first 3 months of having the card. If you use my link in the description below, I'll refer you and you can get another 2,000 membership rewards points on top of this. Now, it's important to understand what that actually means. What would 20,000 American Express points actually get you? Well, you can convert the Amex points to a range of partners with Amex. You can get them back as statement credits. You can buy gift cards, but normally you'll get the most value from using these points with airline partners. And American Express has 12 that you can transfer to directly. It's worth also noting that these airline partners are often members of bigger alliances, and you can also use these points with a much wider range of airlines and indeed book travel on American Express's own travel portal. British Airways is one of the airlines I'll focus on most because firstly, it's based in the UK and so it tends to have very good routes. And secondly, you can get very good value out of UK credit card spending, converting to rewards on BA flights. So for example, with the 22,000 bonus points, you could convert these 1-to-1 for 22,000 Avios. Now, it's important to understand all of the terms attached to the Preferred Rewards Gold credit card, chief among which are quite a high-looking APR. Now, that's calculated to include the annual fee, which is typically £140. However, in the first year, you pay nothing, and this is another reason why it's one of the best cards on the market for beginners. American Express are very flexible with their annual fees, by which I mean that after a year, if you decide you no longer want the card, you can cancel at any time. For example, say you've had the card 13 months. A month ago, you were charged the £140 annual fee, but you've only just realised you can call American Express, cancel the card that you no longer want, and they'll refund that annual fee that you've already paid pro rata for however much you've not used. The purchase rate is the important percentage to look at. If you make purchases on the card and you don't subsequently pay off your full statement balance each and every month, you'll pay almost 23% per annum on those purchases. That's why it's very important that you never carry a balance, particularly on this card, and you always pay the card off in full each and every single month. In addition to the welcome bonuses, there are a number of great rewards that you can achieve from making your everyday spending on the Gold card. These include earning 1 point for every pound that you spend on purchases on your card. You'll also earn double points for every pound you spend directly with airlines, or indeed in a foreign currency. It should, however, be noted that there are some quite substantial fees for spending in a foreign currency on the Gold card, and so I wouldn't recommend this just to earn points. You also earn 3 points for every pound you spend on American Express Travel, which is essentially Amex's own portal for booking flights and accommodation. Although, again, there's a debate to be said whether you'll get the most value out of using this site particularly. You'll earn 10,000 membership rewards points after each year of card membership once you've spent £15,000 per year on the card. There are also some great travel perks to using the Gold card. For example, every year you get 2 complimentary lounge visits at over 700 airport lounges worldwide. These are ordinarily worth anywhere from £20 to £50 per visit. You'll get travel protection, which is a fairly comprehensive travel insurance solution. And of course, you'll get access to American Express's absolutely unrivaled customer service and concierge facilities. For instance, if you want advanced access for things like gigs, events and films, you can contact the Gold concierge service. Now, it's a little bit watered down compared to their famous Platinum and Centurion offerings, but they're still pretty good. Amex customer service is one of the best in the industry, and you can be sure that if you have any problems or queries, they'll resolve them right away for you. Now, as long as you're 18 years or older, you have a permanent address in the UK, you have a UK bank or building society account, and you've not got any massively bad debt like CCJs against you, then you should be okay to apply. You should also note that if you've held any personal Amex card in the past 2 years, you won't be eligible for the 22,000 point welcome bonus. However, if you've got a British Airways Amex card, this is not counted, and so you will still be eligible for the bonus. You can use Amex's handy eligibility checker to check whether you're likely to be accepted for the card. This will basically give you a score from 1 to 10 based on how likely you are to be accepted for the card. It's a soft search, and so it won't impact your credit rating, and it only takes a few minutes to apply. It's also worth noting a website called Billhop. Now, Billhop accepts American Express, which is great news, and it means that you can pay bills that you usually wouldn't be able to use credit cards for at all. How this works is you sign up for a Billhop account, you enter your credit card details, in this case an American Express, and you can then decide how much money you would like to transfer to a nominated bank or building society account. You could transfer this to your own bank account for access to cash, or you could transfer it to a service or goods provider, for example, for your rent for a house. Now, I don't recommend that you do this all the time for your rent because there is a 2.95% fee attached to it. However, if this is the difference between you earning the welcome bonus or not, I would say that it is worth it. For example, if you're a lower end spender and you spend maybe £1,000 in your first 3 months of card membership, outside of things like your rent and your utilities bills, well, you may want to spend another £2,000, which would cost you a £59 service fee using Billhop. In return, you'd make the 22,000 point welcome bonus, which in itself is worth at least £300 by my calculations. So cancel off the service fee of £59 and you're still easily earning £200 plus in benefits. A great alternative to earning really good rewards other than American Express are the Virgin Atlantic credit cards, and there are 2 that you should consider. The Reward credit card, which is a free card with no annual fee, and the Reward Plus credit card, which has an annual fee of £160. There are a couple of key differences to these cards. Firstly, the welcome bonuses are pretty substantially different. On the free card, you'll earn 5,000 bonus miles with your first card purchase. This means that you could go out and buy something as simple as a cup of coffee, and they'd give you 5,000 Virgin Atlantic Flying Club miles with that purchase. With the Reward Plus credit card, you earn 15,000 bonus miles with your first purchase. You also earn 0.75 flying club miles for every £1 you spend on purchases on the card throughout the year. Meanwhile, you earn 1.5 flying club miles for every £1 you spend on the Reward Plus paid card. If you spend £20,000 a year on the free card, you can unlock some exclusive benefits. These include things like upgrades or companion vouchers to bring a friend or spouse with you on a flight for free. However, you only have to spend £10,000 in a year to unlock these benefits on the paid card. Now, whether it's worth paying the £160 annual fee for the paid card will depend entirely on your personal circumstances, but I would suggest that if you do many transatlantic trips and you like Virgin Atlantic as a carrier, it's well worth spending the annual fee for the paid card to earn the difference in bonuses. The Virgin Atlantic credit cards also have an eligibility checker, which is handy to check your eligibility for the cards without having any impact on your credit score. So I hope I've been able to show you some of the key benefits to using credit cards for your everyday spending. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please feel free to share it with your friends, like and subscribe. Thank you.